Well, happy Sunday, Jace. Great to see your smiling face again at the end of the week here, which can only mean one thing. It is time for Empire Algorithmic's Stock Talk Weekly Review.
That's right. It's where the volume weighted average price helps us make sense of the market. So let's get right to it, Matt. Time for a little stock talk.
Let's go. All right, buddy. Well, it is Sunday, like we said. Like I said, great to see your face. Can't wait. So, how you been?
Well, it was a good week. Good to see you too, Matt. It's been a hot minute. Hopefully the Northwest treated you well. It normally does me well up there, but it was a wild week. It was a frustrating week. It was a frustrating end to the week. Even though it was exciting. The
Yeah.
more I don't know. It's interesting. The more I started looking at things over the weekend, the more excited I'm getting about this. But Friday, I mean, it was a frustrating week because all pretty much Monday and Tuesday stops were just getting a hit. I'm just getting stopped. Boom, boom, boom. That pretty much, yeah, it was a frustrating week. We hit a red zone. And then all of a sudden, Jerome Powell's speech comes out, and we just off to the races, right? So either it was a very dramatic shakeout, or this is one of the biggest traps ever, right? So either way, we don't know. We won't know for sure until this week plays out. And of course, it just happens to be NVIDIA reports earnings, I think, on Wednesday. So, right from what do they say? From the pot to the fire, from the kettle to the
Yep.
fire.
Yep.
That's pretty much where we're at. But as far as Friday goes, it was a pretty impressive rally across the board. I think Tuesday it was. Let's see, that's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday was the brutal day, and that was when 80+% of the watch list sold off. Every breakout going back over a month pretty much wiped out all of their gains. It was pretty ugly just across the board. Friday was the exact opposite. It was like everything that happened on Tuesday just got erased. Some of them even then some, and so it was volatility through and through. Started the week, end of the week, but it ended on a very bullish, strong note. So we'll just take a look at everything, general averages, and then we've got a ton of stocks to go through. So S&P 500 rallied up 1.5%, quickly retook the VWAP,
Yeah.
bounced right off the 20-day and the previous anchor's VWAP. So a lot of potential support there. Strong volume to boot. So a very strong end of the week. And for the week, it actually turned out I don't know why my charts keep doing that. It actually turned out a small gain, but
Crazy.
a pretty bullish look. It closed higher than it opened. That just shows that there's some strong demand there. The
Yeah.
Nasdaq Composite, similar look, was not able to strongly overtake the VWAP, but it pretty much closed right at it.
Yeah.
But it did rebound above the 10 and the 20-day averages. And then when you look at its weekly chart, it managed to close down for the week, but similar look, long shadow underneath. As far as this is the exciting part, look at the flip and small caps. This is when you start zooming out, that is just your classic breakout test that finds support at the breakout and just blasts right out. So if this was a stock, we would have bought it here. We would probably, maybe depending on how much it goes, but this is just your classic test with a nice strong follow through. So and huge volume to boot. And then you look at the mid caps, just a traditional breakout for the mid caps as well. Big volume to boot. So that is an exciting thing. This is what's been missing from the overall trend is everything firing on all cylinders. So we thought we were getting there last week with this. Then we got the little shakeout, and then this massive reconfirmation of the breakouts before. Bonds even rallied. So that's a little bit of tailwind for equities. If
Yeah.
money starts pushing bonds higher, that's going to put interest rates lower, which what the market is expecting, which is why it rallied so much, because Jerome Powell basically said, and it's the strangest thing that the chairman of the Federal Reserve comes out and says, our number one concern right now is growth, and we're going to accommodate that concern, and equities go bonkers, right? Like, hey, the economy is in danger, so we've got to do something to fix it. But that's what the market does, right? The market's always looking past the news of the day. It's just confirmation. So that's how that works. But I just the the cognitive dissonance of the market sometimes is really amazing. But
Fascinating.
anyhow, bonds rallied hard. That's a good move. It's just getting us further above the VWAP. It would be interesting if we can break out of this range, then that's really going to provide some tailwind for equities because that's just going to push interest rates even lower, which in turn makes stocks cheaper, which of course raises the prices. VIX, as you would expect, just collapsed. I mean, it just took off. I mean, that's a solid 14% drop in the VIX after some weird days during the week, but right back down in the low volatility, calm mood expectations. So it was overall very bullish, strong look to the end of the week. It's just we followed up what could potentially be probably the shortest red zone we've been able to
Crazy.
find
Yeah.
by the shortest green zone that we had as well. So it was a pretty wild week. But as far as moving forward, we're just going to keep following the market, right? If we get continuation tomorrow, that's going to put us right back in the green zone. There's plenty of opportunity. There's plenty of reason to believe that we're going to see that continuation. So we should be able to make back any losses that we got from the shakeout earlier this week relatively quickly. So don't be afraid to trust the market at this point. But just again, you just got to be on your toes. Like we said, keep your head on a swivel. You always prepare. You just want to make sure you're protecting yourself from any downside trends,
Mhm.
and you can always get back in. So that's pretty much where we're at as far as general market goes.
It's fascinating to see that too throughout the week, and I've been watching your videos while I was out because I wasn't able to do them with you, and so it's been it's been fun to see that Friday spike really kind of turned the tone of everything, which is really nice.
It,
But
it most certainly did. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no.
it really did. And I wasn't quite believing it until I really started looking at some charts. And by the time I was done and I'm getting everything ready for this, my adrenaline, I could feel my adrenaline start hitting because I'm like, oh, there's some opportunities. So it's very interesting to say the least.
Well, perfect. Well, that is the wrap up of the general markets. Next, we always like to jump in and see what some of our big movers have done over the past week, over the past couple days. And all of these movers, again, were sent to us by our algorithm. And you can get access to our daily algorithmic buy and sell signals over on our Patreon if you want to join in on all the fun. It's patreon.com/empire algorithmic trading, where you get access to those signals. Jason and I do an arrow review each day where we take a look at the stocks that are poised for a big breakout. We also talk about how we use those signals in our daily trading and just a cool group of community or cool community of traders over there. So check it out, patreon.com/empire algorithmic trading. But Jace, what are the movers? What are the shakers? Where are they heading?
Up. It was a pretty impressive day on Friday. And there's a lot of there's a lot of shakeouts. There's a ton of shakeouts. I'm doing a little bit. It got me. I'm doing a shakeout study actually. So, but there were shakeouts galore. Tiger up, fintech up a solid 13% on Friday. It shook me out on the 1 day follow through. So usually 1 day follow through at 2.5 to 3.5%. Is not good for the stock. They tend to fail. We don't get a lot of 1 day fails, but when they do, it's an interesting situation, especially when they recover. So again, it was looking pretty rough. I mean, it was down about 7% from the original buy price, and then it just took off. So nice, strong shakeout there. Same thing with IREN. IREN shook me out again. It was trading down 4.5% the day after its price signal. Rally broke all the averages. Just buyers just came in hard, took it up, and then just came into it again on Friday, up 9.3%. Montrose Environmental Group, this one, after struggling, after just kind of trading a little sideways, had a nice solid 7.4% gain. We're just kind of keeping an eye on this one because it still has a little bit of resistance up here at the upper VWAP. But this is more of an aggressive look, so we're keeping an eye on that one. SoFi, again, shook out underneath its buy point and pretty much closed right at the buy point, which I think we talked about when that was happening. And then it just took off like a rocket, up 7.2% on Friday. Tempest, which shook me out at my buy price. I had a very tight stop on this one. I took some profits at around 78 and then just set a buy price stop, right? So if it traded underneath my original buy price, so I got stopped out at 752 and it rallied back that day. And I should have bought it back, but with the red zone, I'm like, no, I'm just going to be a little bit more disciplined, and it's
Yep.
just proving itself. So this is a good thing, right? It's unfortunate that I got stopped out, but it bodes well for future breakouts
Right.
that we're
Right.
seeing buyers come in instead of like we saw during April and March. Sellers were just hammering these things and continuing to hammer them, and even a little bit at the beginning of August was pretty rough. And the breakouts have been really quiet this week too, simply because of the volatility in indexes. But man, once those buyers came in, man, they were coming in and they were coming in a hurry. Look at that, increasing volume all 3 days, very strong breakout. Road flashed another buy
Huh.
signal for us on
Yeah.
Friday, but it's
Greenville.
also breakout, test at the VWAP, test at the 20-day, and doing a trampoline bounce.
Yeah.
So that's flashed another buy signal on Friday. Big spike in volume. Beta Bionics, again, similar pattern. Shook out with the market, just quickly recovered. Now it didn't manage to hold on to the original buy price, so we'll see if that long shadow here, if the sellers that weren't able or the buyers weren't able to maintain control, if that downside momentum follows through. So that'll be interesting. And then Jefferson Capital, which was just traded straight south after its potential breakout, made all that ground up 5.2% on Friday. Velocity Financial, after just kind of treading water, didn't really give up, shook out a little bit here, but just minimally rallied up and a solid 2% on Friday. Core Medics is continuing to drift higher. It was up 1%. And then Tarsus Pharmaceuticals is just continuing to roll. It was up 1.2%. So that's pretty much it for recent breakouts. Now, what we're always looking for, oh, I'm sorry, PAHC, Philbro Animal Health as well. Pretty nice looking little mini cup here. That's a
Yeah.
pretty smooth looking breakout. Moving forward, what we're looking for, what we always want to see are the next stocks, the next setups.
What are the leaders
What's
coming
going to
down the pipeline?
what leaders are coming down the pipe, right? So there's some very interesting action. We got VICR, Vicker Core. Now this one is interesting because it's got this long-term VWAP here that has tried breaking out of a couple of times, but it has an early aggressive. We're trying to watch these between these lower VWAPs and the upper VWAPs. Now I try to trade them above all resistance levels, but if you're aggressive and you don't mind trying to make, you could scalp it for lack of a better phrase. You might be able to ride this gap up, which is a solid 22% gap. So keep an eye on Vicker, VICR, PSIX. Now this is a very common look that we see a lot of. I went back through Bill O'Neill's how to make money in stocks this weekend, and he's got a section of 200 of the greatest winners of all time, right?
Yeah,
And
right towards the beginning of the book.
yeah, right at the beginning of the book, and it starts in like the first cup and handle in the early 1900s, whatever. And so you're looking at it, and I notice a pretty common theme, and that's the little base with the breakout that fails, and then they set up and break out and they take off, right?
Mhm.
So keeping an eye on PSIX, we had this little flag here. When you kind of zoom out, you can kind of see that flag. It might even be 3 weeks. So yeah, kind of a 3 weeks tight pattern, and then it just sort of failed, right? And it undercut
Okay.
these lows. So we're keeping it. That's a good look, right? That's a very bullish look right there. Anytime it's undercuts the previous base's low and then quickly recovers, keep an eye on that. So we're keeping that one. Upstart Financial, this one is still kind of working on its base, but what I love about it is I was finding support. It first broke out here and then went on a nice run, kind of, failed, obviously. The second buy price also failed, the 3 and go. It failed, came back, but it's also finding support pretty much right where it broke out originally, and it's finding support at the VWAPs. And it was a big rally up off the support on a big spike in volume. So we're going to keep an eye on that for this to continue to break out of its pattern. Next thing you know, you have QXO. This is a new one to the watch list. Very interesting chart pattern going on here. Nice, strong. You have a good breakout here. Then you have these little flags that just usually when they hold up right underneath the previous high, these little setups right here. It's the classic handle, but it's also kind of a second signal for our model. And so classic breakout there, nice little run, and then it's going in its first stage correction. So pretty exciting look there for QXO. Keep an eye on that one. Zeta Global, this one as well, potentially breaking out of a nice long-term cup. Early first stage breakout. That one is setting up very pretty. I like the look of that one. Carvana, again, it broke its previous low. It broke this low here. And so this is a pretty exciting look here. We're going to keep a look and look at where it's finding support, Matt, right at the
Wow.
VWAP where it
Yeah.
has Let's see if we can even find the 50-day. Let's see if the 50-day is even providing any support. So it's
Sure it
got the
is.
50-day. So you got all sorts of averages there. You got the 50-day average, you got the volume weighted average price, you got the 10-day and the 20-day, all converging at the same spot right as the stock is starting to break up on volume. That's a very bullish look for Carvana.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute that again. All right. We also have Yatsen Holding. This one is very interesting. This one's starting to get above its VWAP, but what I like about this one, the strong move here and then how it just went sideways. And it really hasn't given up any ground. And then you have a nice budding uptrend right here, and you're just starting to break out of this resistance. So these flags, they go either direction, right? If the market's in a good mood, these will explode. They tend to be quick movers too. They'll run up 15, 20% very fast, and they come down just as fast. So you just have to keep be aggressive on your profit taking. Be aggressively defensive is what I like to call it. So keep an eye on that one. Lending Club, similar pattern, strong gap, just going sideways, finding support at right in that 20-day, finding support, shaking out, right at the 10-day moving average, bouncing up hard on. This could actually be a buy signal if you were so inclined. But bouncing up on good volume, keeping a very close eye on Lending Club. AAOI, this was a failed breakout. It tried breakout previously, came back down, finding support near the VWAP, right within the ADR. If you look at its average daily range, it's right inside of 1.5 times that ADR. That's a very common look for stocks under accumulation. So keep a very close eye on AAOI as well. AMSC, American Superconductor, this thing was just on a tear, and it's just setting up. This is going to be, it's like a first stage after this really long. You had this fake breakout here, and then it undercut this low, creating this whole new basing pattern. You can almost call that a base on base, except for this low here. And then it's just off to the races. So we're keeping a close eye on that one. And, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we could find, let's see if the 50-day comes into play. No, it's still well above the 50. So I'm sure there's a VWAP there. And then, we've got EverQuote. This one is a really solid fund. This one's tried breaking out multiple times, but it's just continuing to find the lower kind of bottoms. And so we're just keeping a really close eye on this one. It's kind of wedging a little bit. It's got a long term. It's just tightening up. It's just getting a little tighter and tighter. And usually when that happens, it keeps coming up on our fundamental screens. We have some screens that I run that very few stocks in the market hit fundamentally, and this is one that pretty much shows up across the board. So I'm just waiting for the technicals to catch up with the fundamentals. We'll see. So that's just a continuous. ALMU, this one was a previous breakout, did a 3 and go. This one hasn't done much since that 3 and go, right? It pretty much failed. That's right as the market. A lot of times you're going to find when your stocks take a hit and you're going, man, what should I not have bought that? Why did it shake out? Why did it get hard? Then when you take a look at the general market, you see that the general market really went through a little bit of a turbulent time. So ALMU is kind of going through that whole process. So we're just keeping a close eye on that one, finding support at the previous VWAP. Still has some resistance to work through. It's not in a buy spot yet, but it's just one that we've got on the watch list. HROW, this one looks really nice too. It's got nice early first stage base. That's just a really good looking chart.
Yeah.
Rubric, again, this one as well is another really nice one that we just love the support of the VWAP. Sellers tried taking it down right as the market was selling off hard, and buyers said, no, thank you. We're just going to keep eating those shares up. So what we want now is we want the buyers to just win, right? They're not there yet, but the sellers are starting to lose a little bit more. Same thing with Tesla. Now, these are the mega caps, right? The market's not going to go anywhere without the mega caps. So let's just take a look. Tesla flashing a buy signal, no doubt about it. Flashed a buy signal here, did the test, and is recovering from that failure, basically. So that's a good buy signal there. Apple, again, similar pattern. We've seen this 100 times. Stock flashes a buy signal. First attempt at the buy signal after a long trend like this tends to either go sideways or it will come all the way back down and test the VWAP, right? But it flashed a nice tight little sell signal here, supported the 10-day moving average. If this thing continues to move higher, that'll flash another buy signal. That bodes well for all three of the big major indexes, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Dow, because I believe the Apple's part of all three. Made a similar pattern. It's flashed a nice little sell signal, which gives us an opportunity to start looking for buy signals. And so anytime you get 3 compact days below the VWAP, we just consider that a sell signal and start looking for opportunities for it to move higher. Finding support at the VWAP, previous basis VWAP, and has done this before. It's actually if I remember correctly, it did that right here. It rallied up, found support at the VWAP, and then went on a nice little run. So we're keeping a close eye on Meta. Friday could have been an early aggressive buying opportunity. In that case, if you're aggressive like that, this would be your stop, right? The low here of 763. So just something to keep an eye out for. But that's usually if you want to buy on lower VWAPs. I haven't had a good luck with that, so that's why I try to let them prove themselves and catch that when that momentum is going on the upside. But that could be a new aggressive potential trade. And then Microsoft, keeping a close eye on Microsoft as well. This one could be setting up for a new base after it broke out of a very long double bottom just first attempt. So we'll see. I think that is actually right at the 50-day as well. We're going to set that there. Yeah, just right at the 50-day. So that's a good look for Microsoft. And then, of course, Google just flashed a buy signal on Friday as well. There's a little 3 and go, 1, 2. If it follows through, then you've got a traditional 3 and go. It's not on our watch list because its ADR is a little too low for what we screened for.
Right.
But I just wanted to take a look because the market's not, like I said, these things are dominate the averages. So we're not going to get any headway in the averages. And then lastly, the big dog, NVIDIA, interesting position. It's just hanging out underneath its averages, flash a sell signal, recovered on Friday. But I don't know what to make of that until earnings, right? Earnings are going to be a huge thing on, was that Wednesday. So holding my breath for that. But in the meantime, it's, if we get an update tomorrow, which I'm just looking at charts, and just here's the other thing too. Look at the volume, right? This is the volume buzz for Friday, and it's just all green, right? So
Crazy. Double-digit green.
quite a few, right? So it's hard to not be excited about it. It's an interesting situation though, because the fake outs, right? We had the fake green zone quickly turn into a red zone. Now we might be going back to a green zone. We got shakeouts galore going on in breakouts. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm looking at recent breakouts going, man, nothing is doing, everything is just getting crushed. Then all of a sudden, all of it got wiped away on Friday. So that's just how it goes. But it's very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen. I started building this a couple of years ago, and I started studying the general market. And I haven't seen this quick turnaround in such a tight fashion. Usually, it's spread out over at least a week and a half, right? But this is just within 4 or 5 days. It's pretty impressive. I don't know how to take it, so I'm just going to keep following my rules. I'm not going to buy extended. I'm not going to hold anything that's going against me, and I'm not going to be afraid to buy anything back. That's what the Shakeout study is all about. And I'm finding some pretty interesting facts that we'll go over for our Patreon subscribers. But it's an interesting place to be for this market. So hopefully we get back in the green zone tomorrow. Hopefully sellers don't come rolling in. Then we can make up some money that we lost this week. So that's what I'm hoping for. But of course, I'm not putting anything to work until we get confirmation on Friday's rally.
Exactly. Well, that's it for our weekly review here on VWAP Vision Stock Talk. Thank you so much for listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube. Please hit that like, subscribe, rate, review us, help us bump up in the ratings. Follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X. We're on all of those where you can help digest a little bit more trading information, some weekly freebies, trader tips, things like that. Also, if you want to know more about who we are and what we do, look at our website, VWAPvision.com. VWAPvision.com. And last but not least, for all the good, for the best of the best, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading, where you get access to those algorithmic daily buy and sell signals, some error review videos from Jason and I, where we break down what we like coming up the next day. Also, how we use these signals in our trading. Again, that's patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. And until tomorrow, Jace, happy trading, buddy.
Happy trading, buddy. It's good to see you again. And yeah, let's just have some fun with it. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man.